Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And today we're going to talk about the growth of the WNBA this year and how much effect Caitlin Clark had on that particular growth. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do, so you get notified of our next videos. We're going for 5,000 subscribers real close, and we need your help. So, Rob, the league wants you to believe that this huge explosion was because it was just happening all along, and I'm going to tell you that they're lying to you. And now, right, like last year, you heard interviews on ESPN. I forget if it was McNutt, McCrazy McNutt, or it was the liar Andrea Carter, or one of those Chine, whatever. One of those people said, "Oh, it's been growing slowly for like the last 5 to 7 years." So we looked it up, and we found out that wasn't true. Right. It actually had not been growing at all for like the last 15 or 20 years. In fact, it peaked in 2003. It's been hovering around 1,500,000 viewers, and that's what it had last year. The only reason it grew the last couple of years is because the pandemic had 0 fans. So it got back up to pre-pandemic levels. So it wasn't growing, just so you know. And the TV viewership wasn't growing either. It went up a little bit last year in the finals because they had 2 marquee teams. But it wasn't growing. It's in danger of being shut down because it's lost money every year for 27 years. And this will be the 28th year that it lost money. However, this year it grew a lot. There may have been a change in the league this year, Rob, but I just can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it was.
I think it was the new uniforms. The way to promote the new uniforms, all the teams got new uniforms, right, and the logos, and that probably really attracted a lot of people.
Total attendance last year was 1,587,000. This year it was 2,353,000, up 48.3%, Rob. So that's good. That was the biggest jump they've ever had. So they increased it by 766,000. And guess what, Rob? Guess why it grew so much? Well, I figured it out, Rob.
All right.
And it was at least 50% because of Caitlin Clark. And I got the numbers to prove it.
There you go.
So the Fever went up from 81,000 to 259,000. They grew 319% in attendance. Rob, no other team went up more than 68.5%, and that was the Sparks. No other team went up. I'll repeat that. Went up more than 68.5%. The Fever went up 319%. They went from 4,000 per game to 17,000 per game. They went up by 13,000 per game, Rob, because of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's
an increase of 318%. So they basically sold out every game except for a couple, I think it was. And so that was the increase. So they want you to believe this and that. But all the teams did increase in attendance, Rob. And guess what? I know that the league wants you to believe that it's because of Angel Reese too. So in terms of increased attendance, Rob, the Chicago Sky was 3rd worst in increased attendance. And they had 2 new rookies who were big rookies, Camila Cardoza and Angel Reese.
And a star coach of Witherspoon, her first year.
And Witherspoon is their new coach. But they were 3rd worst in increased attendance. So Angel Reese was a 0 draw, Rob, as far as I can tell. Because she didn't even get the wave of Caitlin Clark. And they had also some big turnouts when the Fever played the Chicago Sky. So they actually got sold out on those games, Rob. All right. So anyways, that's interesting to note. Rakia Jackson's team did much better. She increased 68%. So she was a much bigger draw than actually Angel Reese. Cameron Brink got injured, so you can't really judge on that. So I found that interesting. So what I did, Rob, is I figured out the difference between the average attendance for that particular team and then how many fans showed up when Caitlin Clark played.
Okay.
And I added all those together, and I figured out that there was a growth of 766,000 in the league, but 383,000 came out to see Caitlin Clark, which was almost exactly 50%. Now, 4 games were sold out against the Dallas Wings, against Connecticut Sun, so the attendance only went up a couple. If they'd been in a bigger arena, they probably would have increased more.
Right.
More like 9,000 a game, like the other arenas. And so if those games were not sold out and had bigger arenas, Caitlin Clark would have contributed to 55% of the growth of the league, Rob. 55%. But either way, it's 50%, even with the fact that 4 of the games are sold out and they couldn't get any more fans in there.
Yeah, standing room only. I think with the one game somebody said.
Right. So that's unbelievable in terms of her impact on the league. Just unbelievable. So the average number of fans per game, Rob, went from 6,600 to 9,800. So that increased. That's the same 48% increase that went up for total attendance. So that was it did have growth other than Caitlin Clark, but I would argue, Rob, given that the growth the last couple of years were similar to what they had been before, that the Caitlin Clark effect kind of trickled over to the WNBA.
But I thought that, well, Sports Illustrated said that Angel Reese is the most influential player. I thought.
Yeah, well, I just showed you the attendance records, Rob, and she wasn't influential at all.
Excuse me, Mark. That's Sports Illustrated. I'm sorry. I'll go.
They have lost all credibility with everybody in sports once they put Angel Reese on the cover instead of Caitlin Clark. They did. I mean, seriously, there is no credibility left with Sports Illustrated. There's no credibility left with ESPN, who tried to lead you to believe that this league's been growing for the last 5 to 7 years, and the attendance do not indicate that whatsoever, Rob.
And there's no credibility to the league itself, the W, who still is not admitting that this one person has increased their attendance and TV. You didn't even, Mark, you didn't even get into TV ratings. You just said attendance. You just did this league attendance.
Right. Well, it's ridiculous because they had in 2002, they had 2,300,000, and it went down almost like every year, Rob, until 2019 when they were only 1,300,000. Then they had the pandemic, which doesn't count, and then it just kind of trickled back up to 1,500. That's it. Right. So it wasn't growing. So stop it. Stop with the lies. The television ratings we already went over. It just went up a little bit last year. But they exploded with Caitlin Clark, as we know, because we had all these games that had more than 1 million viewers, and Caitlin Clark was in 23 out of 26. And she had all high-rated games, Rob.
And you didn't even include the All-Star game.
Oh, I did. It would go 23 out of 26.
Oh, okay.
That was because it was 22 out of 25 with Caitlin Clark without the All-Star game.
Okay.
That was a record too. And it was because of Caitlin Clark. So you could tell by the viewership. Angel Reese didn't have any, Rob, in the top 26. That didn't involve Caitlin Clark also.
But
Zero.
Mark, but the Olympic, wait a minute, Mark. Now with the Olympics ratings, I'm sure that they maintain their high average.
Those all went down too, Rob.
What? I can't believe that.
They would have exploded if Caitlin Clark had played in the Olympics, Rob. So as we know, that was a major mistake by an incompetent, unprofessional league. This is quite easy to see, Rob.
Well, she needed her rest, Mark. She needed her rest.
Yeah. Thank you, the league, for giving her a rest and not choosing her on the Olympic team.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see. We're taping this on Tuesday morning, and they just had a playoff game without Caitlin Clark. 2 games were played for the first round of the semifinals, and I don't have the ratings for those. So it will be interesting to see what the ratings are compared to last year in the semis and the finals, because Caitlin Clark won't be in any of the games, obviously, because they got eliminated.
Well, I know one of the games, Mark, they only had 8,000 in attendance, and I believe it was the Connecticut's Sun game. Right.
They did have problems with attendance in that game. It wasn't close to selling out. When Caitlin Clark played her first playoff game, her viewership was 4 times what everybody else's was. So we already know that.
And the player on the Connecticut Sun said we don't want you Clayton Clark fans. Get out of here. So, okay.
Oh, they didn't come.
No problem.
It will be interesting to see what the attendance is next year and what the ratings are in the playoff games for the rest of the year. So I'm sure Caitlin Clark had no effect whatsoever, even though it looked like she increased it to 55%. And I think if she had not been in the league this year, Rob, I think the growth would have been similar from 2022 to 2023. Anyways, those are the stats. Those are the facts. That's the truth. These are not the lies the league and ESPN want you to have. So you can look all this stuff up, but I figured it out. Caitlin Clark was the reason they had most of their increase this year.
That's the fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack. That's the fact, Jack. I don't think this surprises anybody, but I just want people to know what the truth is, because this false narrative is annoying. And it's a good thing that there are independent YouTube channels to correct all these false narratives that the league and ESPN, who seem to be, I don't know, it's almost like ESPN owns the WNBA. There's some kind of strange connection there, Rob. I don't understand it other than, the tribalism connection, but it's really weird to me. And it really results in ESPN losing all their credibility. And even
when they try to even promote Caitlin Clark, like I watched it, they promoted her with the Rookie of the Year. I just watched it a couple of days ago with the hypocrite Andrea Carter.
Rookie of the Year, Rob. We don't even know who it is yet. They haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, they were like showing excerpts from her games and stuff, and I'm like, you're a little too late on this.
Yeah. So, anyways, if you agree with our take, subscribe to our channel. If you think the league is full of it, subscribe to our channel. If you like football, subscribe to our channel. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, and we need your help to get there. Real close. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to join us for our live show, it's 6 to 8 Eastern time every Monday except for major holidays. And if you want to donate to this channel, there's super chats and super thanks down below, and there's a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.